website.
And we are live. It looked like welcome on into another edition of the Cavalier Connection. I don't know why our intro didn't play. We're just having a lot of issues with the intro video, Jay, recently. You guys wouldn't know it. You guys that are viewing would not know our last episode. We had on Cardiac Who's, and in the middle of the episode, all of a sudden, intro just starts randomly playing. And we couldn't stop it. We cut it out. We were able to cut it out. Now the intro won't play. So, Jay, I don't understand what's going on. But how you doing tonight, Jay? Welcome into another Cavalier Connection episode.
Well, it's opening night of fall practice. You know, I mean, you got to be excited, right? Football season's officially here, and it's time to buckle the chin straps and start separating the men from the boys out on the field. Actually,
that's right, absolutely. You could not be more excited. Looking through Twitter today, looking through X, just scrolling. All you see is videos, you see pictures, press conferences. Fall camp began today. Coach Elliott's out there blowing the whistle. Players are out there doing their reps, lifting the weights. Could not be more exciting than to just scroll through social media today. Even Instagram, they have the videos and photos. Super, super exciting. We're going to get into that. Football season's coming right around the corner. With that being said, though, Jay, before we get to all that, the wait is over. You can almost feel the energy at Scott Stadium, the sound of the pads popping, coaches shouting, and players chasing that first win of the season. Kickoff is coming fast, Jay. August the 30th, a month from today, Jay. Can you believe that? A month from today.
1 month from right now, we're going to be finishing off Coastal Carolina. The Chanticleer is going to be falling to 0-1 in exactly 1 month about right now.
About right now in 1 month, I really hope we're leading by about 21 plus points. But that's beside the point. At 6 o'clock, August the 30th, Jay, there's only one more thing to figure out, though. What is your game day going to look like? Whatever you're on the hill, in the stands, or watching with friends, Minster's UVA imprinted sportswear has you covered. Hit the corner, stop by Stonefield, or shop online at minters.com. Whose football is back? Let's gear up and make this season one to remember. It's really exciting, Jay. You got to get your gear. I don't have my hat on right now. I was going to wear it. Oh, well. You want to be sure to stock up on your Minter's gear before, because you got to look good out there at Scott Stadium.
Yeah, you don't want to be carrying a bag either. Like, you just want to be able to buy it and then put it right on. Yeah. Like, I mean, you want to have it ahead of time. So either, you want to get it ahead of time, or you want to go to the game. Maybe you're going to get you a hat. So you don't wear a hat. Like, you don't want to have to replace the one that you got on and carry it around all day.
Yeah.
So
you
get that fresh lid and you'll be ready to go. We don't sell this one. This is a one of a kind.
That's
two of a kind. Me and your dad have one.
Two of a kind. Yep.
But maybe one day. Maybe one day. Yeah. So with that being said, Jay, I want to talk a little bit more about fall camp in just a little bit. But as you know, last week ACC Kickoff was going on. Virginia was on the last team to go on the first day on Tuesday last week. And I got some audio with some of those players that we're going to get to in just a minute. But overall, what were your thoughts just in general? I know you watched some of the press conference and whatever of what Coach Elliott had to say, of anything any of the players had to say. Does anything stand out to you? Well, Coach Elliott coming out with some strong statements about, honoring the commitments of the former regime. And, that right there, you look at it, it's like, okay, those guys are out now. Coach Elliott's got his squad, and everybody's believing that this year's roster is deep and talented. I think he said they had the most talent that he's had in his time. And I think that's fairly obvious, but I would challenge, like, go back for sure, at least to 2019, and maybe beyond that, because I think we have a lot of talent, and it's in not just the two deep. Even I think we go more than two deep in a lot of positions with some pretty good talent. Absolutely. The one thing I've thought about, Jack, and I don't know if you've thought about this at all, and it's not something I've talked about on the podcast even, is that, yes, we brought in 32 transfers, whatever it was, but if you look at these other, and I was trying to write an article on it, and the information was just too great, but all of these schools are bringing in 30 close to 30 transfers, if not, outside of Clemson, who doesn't believe in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
So where are they getting the players from? We got our players this year from like the Power 4 conferences mostly, and then some, some of the other,
like J. Murray Taylor was out of North Carolina Central.
Yeah, and Kazim Moore was out of Elon. We had a couple guys, smaller schools, but my thought is, are all these I'm gonna call them a mid-major, right? Like in Old Dominion.
Yeah.
Are all of those schools just getting poached? And so, like, everybody in the ACC, we think Virginia's good, but they were preseason voted 14th in the conference today.
Yeah. Yep. And I was gonna get to that in a minute too. Yeah.
Yeah. Is everybody just gonna be deep now and talented?
It's a great point.
I mean, are like the Old Dominions just depleted?
Yeah, and it really does suck for those smaller schools. I mean, when you're talking about like any of those Sunbelt schools, you got MAC Action, which and Mountain West, some of these smaller conferences. It really is a shame because you're used to this traditional college football where most of the time you're going to get your guy who plays all 4 years. You can build up your roster. It makes it possible, to build up a nice culture at one of those teams. Now, if you're a school like ODU, it's like you get these guys for a year, maybe 2 years. Say they do play well. You have a good season or two. They're gone, and they're going to be gone. Really, you have to build your program planning to get some better recruits than you used to be able to get, but just knowing you're not going to be able to build your program around them, which just stinks. But you're right. I think it's a very valid point. Everyone around the ACC got better. Let's face it. Everybody got multiple, except for Clemson, as you said. Clemson doesn't do the transfer. We know Dabo don't like to do the transfer portal for whatever reason he won't adapt. But
and yet
everybody
the
got
best
better.
team in the conference by far.
And yeah, they are.
According to the media.
They are, yeah, and I believe they are too. But everyone got better. I do think though, just Virginia with the NIL funds they got over the offseason and being able to go out there and get a guy from Alabama, to get a guy from Ohio State, you get a Big Ten player from Purdue and Edrine. You get all these guys. It's a really good portal. Now, I will say this time last year, we were really excited about that portal too. And we didn't quite have the portal that we had this year, I wouldn't say, but we were really excited about that. And that really didn't turn out any better. I think the thing about the optimism around this year to go with it is the schedule. The schedule being so weak as it is, I'm willing to say it's a weak schedule. When you combine that and then you get some of the NIL funds to go with that transfer portal, when you're spending that NIL money, it makes you think a little more like, these guys must be good if they're going to be worth all this money. And you get some of these guys. We weren't getting guys last year out of Ohio State like Mitchell Milton. We weren't getting a Hunter Osborne out of Alabama. We were getting nice transfer gets, but we weren't really like think about it. We were excited about Andre Green last year out of UNC. He hasn't really done much. Hopefully he can contribute a little more this year, but
also you think about a kid like a Kendron Smith. He came in, he was solid. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But look at the DBs we brought in this year.
I don't think it's comparable, honestly.
It's not comparable. I mean, and the talking heads like us and others, you're naturally going to be excited for your team. However, there's some validity to it when they're nationally ranked as the number 18 class in the country in the transfer portal.
Yeah, absolutely.
And honestly, at this day and age, the transfer portal ranking to me is more important than the high school class ranking, because if your kids that you recruit aren't turning into good players, they're going to transfer out, and because they're going to basically not play, and then you're going to replace them with transfer portal players. So, like, I think as much as we lose the relationship aspect with some of the kids and, watching guys that I watch grow up and play all 4 years or whatever, the bottom line is you want to win. Winning cures everything. If we have a huge season, it won't matter that Chandler Morris was only the quarterback for 1 year. In 5 years, you're going to still be like, man, you remember that 2025 by Chandler Morris? Man, he beat Tech, went 9-3, went to whatever bowl. That's what you'll remember, not that he was only here for a year.
Yeah, Jay, remember those 2 years that Bryce Perkins came into town? And 2018 had a great year. 2019 he beat Virginia Tech, went to the Orange Bowl. You remember those 2 years?
Right. Did it matter that he started, not at Virginia? No. I mean,
No.
it just doesn't matter.
No, he got brought in by Bronco. He was injured a lot of his career, had a lot of injury issues. People thought he'd never play football again, broke his neck, and then he comes with Bronco and balls out. He balled out. You're absolutely right. But speaking of the transfer portal, I mentioned Mitchell Melton out of Ohio State. Would you like to go ahead and hear what he had to say at ACC Kickoff, Jay? Let's hear from Mitchell Melton.
Yep, let's hear it.
7 is disgusting. You got you, Jameer, Anthony Britton, Hunter Osborne. The names go on and on. Just talk about how you guys have meshed so far, the relationship you've developed with those guys. And I mean, am I crazy for saying it's one of the best defensive lines in the ACC potentially?
I love your mentality, and I think it's the same mentality we would have being confident in who we are as players. I'm very excited. I think this D-line unit has gelled really well over these past 7 months that I've been here, and it's making me nothing but excited for the future.
A few minutes ago, you were talking about, you were competing in the playoffs, but also trying to figure out where you're going to go to school after, which is crazy. But talk about your relationship with Coach Elliott and how he kind of brought you in. I mean, a lot of players and recruits say, they love him. The moms always love him because he's just such a personable guy. Just talk about your relationship with him.
I think you said it best. He's a very personable guy, and I think with my unique experience, I needed personable. I think it was very cut and dry, just trying to figure out a place to go after my season last year. So it was a refreshing taste to have Coach Elliott come in and be very personable and honest and open to my situation as I was to his, and it was a very easy and a quick process.
Have any of the veterans on this team, like Jameer, like somebody who's been on the team before, explained it all the Virginia Tech rivalry to you and how big it is?
More than explained it, Jameer especially, he's embodied it, and the same with Josie. He's there
multiple years.
Exactly, and countless years.
Yeah.
But I think them being the standard is what's propelling the new guys who just come in. You know what I'm saying? That helps us understand what is the Virginia way, and not necessarily what we had before, but what works for this team. And I think they've been a beacon of leadership for us, and they've really just led the way for sure.
Not to keep mentioning Jameer, but would Jameer be considered maybe the leader of this defensive line, or is it another guy? Because he's been there for so long, I almost feel like or has someone else stepped up?
I mean, the thing is, it's like anyone can step up the next day. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely. It's just the thing about our group is so great is that everyone is so willing to step up in a lot of different ways, and I think the thing is we have a lot of different personalities, so there's different ways to lead for a lot of different guys. But Jameer, definitely we'd all say he's the leader, but there's a lot of different guys that are leading in their own way, which is beautiful to see.
One more. Yeah. Who is the best in that defensive room at College Football 26?
I'm biased, so I'm going to say myself, of course. Nobody can compete. It's just probably me.
So there you have it. Mitchell Melton. He's going to be on that defensive edge for the Hoos this year, coming out of Ohio State, Jay. He had some exciting comments there, huh?
Yeah. We're going to have to see if we can get his EA Sports ID and get you in a matchup. We could maybe live stream, Jack. You versus the team. Jeff and I can't represent. We might be able to I might be able to, 20 years ago, I could have represented.
It'll be a series, me versus the team. I'll go down the line, every starting position, and it'll be a battle. We'll keep track of who wins the most.
Yeah.
If I win, I get backstage access for life. How about that? But no, I got to say, out of all those people I spoke with at ACC Kickoff, Mitch might have been one of my favorites. Very personable guy. The thing that stood out to me most, and before the camera was rolling, he was talking to another media member, and I mentioned it there, about how he was playing in the college football playoffs last year, but he didn't know where he was going to go to school. He was trying to figure out where he was going to go to school. He kept mentioning, he'd go to practice during the day, practice all day, film study sessions, like getting ready for some of the biggest games of his life. Then he goes home at night, hops on a Zoom call with a couple college coaches trying to figure out where he's going to go to school. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, I look at like that room that he's in, and you got your Fisher Carmack, Billy Kudelka, Mitchell Melton,
Moore. It goes on forever.
Just a lot of say again.
It truly goes on forever.
Yeah, it's just a ton of talent, and I think of course you're going to have injuries. That's where that depth comes in. We talked to the guys at the Ohio State pod. Melton for them was kind of a pass rush specialist. He was more like a third down guy, come in. And so I think it's good for him. He wants to play at the next level, I'm sure. Come in and really show your 3-down value. And he'll have that opportunity, I'm sure, throughout the year.
Yeah, for sure. And we've talked a lot about it with Cardiac Who's about the offensive line, or I talked about it anyways, how much depth there is on that offensive line. When you look at the defensive line, it's the same way. Like you just said, the amount of names there are. Like, all these guys can't play at once. But
Right.
I replied to one of Two Guard's posts the other night because, he was talking about, like, who's going to play, who's not. Like, this is going to be some of the most depth. Like, Coach Rudd is going to be able to get so, I don't want to say fancy, but he's going to be able to get so creative with the kind of formations he's going to want to put out there. How many people does he want to have on that front line?
I was going to say, like, suppose you get like a 3rd and 20. Well, I guess they could run a draw, but like in a known passing situation, 3rd and 13, you could just take out the juggernaut, throw like Kazim Moore, Mitchell Melton, Fisher, and Billy Kadelka all on the D line, and just y'all 4 go get him. You know what I mean?
Fun. Go have some fun out there. That's
right.
And even I remember, the Ohio State guy mentioning, like, Mitch can drop back in pass coverage. Shoot, now obviously he wants to pass rush, but he can play in different areas. He's a hybrid. He can drop back in coverage if he needs to. And then you have the interior defensive line too, Jameer Carter, who we're going to hear from in just a few minutes as well, coming in for his 6th, 7th year, whatever it is. There's just so much depth, and as well as Anthony Britton, Jason Hammond, who have had some bright spots. They're young. There's so much they can do with that defense.
And one thing that we've talked about too, the linebacker room is getting no pub. None.
Yeah.
And arguably the best player on the team is Cam Robinson.
I would say so.
How much better will he be when guys are actually taking up blocks and opening, allowing him to go make plays?
Less responsibility for him.
I'm excited. I want to see the return of the Orange Crush. Also, Mincers, please make an Orange Crush t-shirt for the defense.
An Orange Crush.
Thank you for your service in this matter.
I love it. You made a great point about Cam. I'd say he is the best player on this Virginia roster. And, even in his freshman year, his sophomore year, when he hasn't had that much depth in the defense, he's been unbelievable. And you make a great point. He's going to have less responsibility now. He doesn't need to be all over the field. He has some depth. And there's other depth at that linebacker position, too. Trey McDonald, who played some last year. I'm blanking on James Jackson is going to be out there again. A name I'm really
fly around and make plays.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And a name I'm really interested by, this is more of the secondary, but Ethan Minter. He had a couple bright spots last year, and I know that safety position is kind of locked up. You have Clary, you have Neal, that's fine. I really think it wouldn't be a crazy idea to bring him into the box some when you go in those nickel formations when you get the extra defensive back. Put him in that box and let him fly around, make some plays. I think he could make a great impact on the defense if Coach Rudd wanted to use him that way as well.
Yeah, I'm afraid I hope he sees the field some, and
I hope he does too.
I'm sure he will, but all the guys we brought in, I could see, getting lost in the shuffle a little bit. The kid from Tennessee, was it Christian Charles or Charles? I can't remember. I'm drawing a blank, but I know he's the same kind of similar type player. Of course, Devin Neal's got one of those positions on lock, and then Clary, if he's healthy.
If
I don't
healthy,
know that Clary is. I hope Clary will be healthy, but not 100% sure.
Mm-hmm. And I think he sat out of fall camp today, is what I read. But from what else I've read, he should be healthy by the time the season's ready to kick. So hopefully that is the case. But I think it's about time we hear from another one of our players, Jay. I think I want to go with. Should we hear from our quarterback, Chandler Morris? Is it time for him?
Let's say quarterback for last. You got to put it
last. Okay,
yeah, you got to put the quarterback on last.
How about our man Noah Josie, the offensive guard?
I love it.
There's a lot of interaction on Twitter the other night because of one of the questions I asked at the very end. You're going to want to be sure to stay for the end because I personally thought it was a great question. And by the way, before I play the video, We love interacting with the viewers. If you have any questions or comments out there, be sure to put it in the YouTube chat box. We would love to interact, answer any of your questions, debate you, whatever you want to do. Be sure to put it in the chat box. Let's hear from our man, Noah Josie.
So, just talking with Jameer, you two are clearly two of the longest tenured players on this team, and two of the few players left that experienced the tragedy years ago. Something that I asked him and I wanted to ask you too. I don't want to say responsibility, I don't think that's the right word, but do you almost take it as like your kind of responsibility to kind of tell like the new players like, hey, like this is the foundation and soul of our program, you know, this is what happened, like these guys were a huge part, like I don't know how to explain it, but you know, is it kind of your responsibility to kind of show them like, hey, this means something to us, especially on like UVA Strong Day, you know, trying to help them understand?
Yeah, for sure. I think we have the responsibility to be almost a storyteller, you know, to tell those guys stories often and, you know, to allow their memories to live on forever. I think that's a huge responsibility that we have, and it is definitely for sure, you know, when new guys come in and they ask about it and they understand the importance of it to us and how much it means to us and how much those 3 men meant to us is a huge responsibility for us.
We talked about it a little bit earlier in the conference room, but a lot of new offensive linemen and a lot of returners too. There's just so much depth and an offensive line where kind of struggled to stay healthy last year, but now it seems as though you can almost split snaps and we have multiple starters. Just talk about that. Talk about you know, being a mentor, because I kind of assume you're going to be more of a mentor. You've been with this program longer.
Yeah, you know, there's Coach Elliott said we're almost 50-50 old guys, young guys on our team. Trending a little bit older in the offensive line room, but, you know, we have a lot of young guys, so I'm really excited for their future. You know, the freshmen who just got here, you know, the second years, all those guys are going to have really bright futures, and, you know, teaching them the standards and teaching them, you know, this is how you do things, this is how you approach your rehab or your prehab or the weight room. You know, those things are important to me. Just I love this program. I love the program the culture that we built. And it's something I want to keep going. You know, the depth, having that going into the next season is huge. It's something that I've never had before here at UVA, and it's something that I think is going to be a huge difference maker for us next year.
Talk about your relationship with Coach Elliott, because I mean, you had multiple years where you could have easily walked away. You could have found a new program that you could be a star at, or you could find a bigger program, but you've stuck it out. And it seems as though a lot of people who do that, they love Coach Elliott. Just talk about your relationship with him.
Yeah, you know, Coach Elliott is a player's first coach. He always has been since he got here, and he cares about you as a man even more than he cares about you as a player. He wants your best, and that's rare in college football these days. A lot of places are simply put just a meat factory. That's what they are. You know, they're pumping players in, they're pumping players out, and they don't really care about their lives. Coach Elliott spends so much time preparing guys for whatever they need to after football. Most guys, that's not the NFL, and if that's not your path, you know, you're ready for life.
Have you told some of the new offensive linemen about the Virginia Tech rivalry?
Yeah, for sure. You know, they understand the importance it means to us. They understand, you know, the lack of on-the-field performance that we've had the last few years in that rivalry and where it needs to be, and we're confident that they know the importance of it to the team.
Out of everybody on that offensive line, whether it's a new guy or returner, who's the best college football 26 player?
I honestly, I don't play much video games. That's not something I'm doing very often.
You're one of the few.
Yeah. I honestly, I don't really have time for it. I'm usually doing something else. I couldn't even tell you.
I respect it. And then final one for you, and I think I know the answer to this, but is there any person on this earth a bigger fan of this football program than your mother?
You know, that's something that, yeah, you know, probably not. She's very active on Twitter. I like to say she treats her Twitter like a burner sometimes. And that's
it's like it's you.
Yeah, seriously. And she cares, man. She cares so much about me, and I really appreciate that, and, you know, the love she has for me and this team. It sometimes it comes out, you know, she talks a lot, but it's always with love.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
His mother, a big fan of the team, Jay. Big fan of the team.
Yeah, she's a huge supporter. I love following her on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
And typically she's spot on with her takes.
Yeah.
So, you know, we should have her on the Cavalier Connection sometime.
We should have her on as a guest. She might be watching right now.
I was gonna say, you know how we did the Mother's Day special with Kamora Johnson and her mom. We should have
mark this down for Mother's Day next year.
Yeah, Mother's Day episode.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. and I said this about Mitch too, but Noah's also was a great guy to talk to. And same with Jameer. They've been with this program for so long. They understand the ins and the outs. And that's what why I kind of asked that first question about the tragedy. You know, like these are two of the last guys remaining, some of the last guys remaining that experienced the coaching change and everything that was going on. And he stuck it out. Him and Jameer have stuck it out. They haven't left. They haven't transferred out. They haven't gone to the NFL. They had early, or, you know, they've decided to stick it out with Coach Elliott, which just fascinates me. And it shows truly how good of a person on and off the field Coach Elliott is to be able to keep them around this program. And these two guys are almost the soul, I'd say, of the culture on each side of the ball. Jameer, so experienced, that defensive line, he builds that culture in my mind. And then Josie has been here forever. I think the longest tenured offensive lineman, correct me if I'm wrong. I think him, because then Mikhail, he wasn't around as long. So I love talking with Noah.
Yeah, he's got to be setting records too for games played, I would imagine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Your audio is a little bit off, Jack. So sorry if I cut you off. It was like kind of going in and out there for a minute, a little bit spotty.
Nope, you're good. Absolutely. So yeah, there you go. Noah Josie. Really quick, before we get to our next guy, I wanted to go ahead and get to this really quickly. I'm gonna share my screen here. I don't know how long this is gonna take because the internet's been a little dodgy here. Here we go. So I wanted to show off the preseason poll from the media there. Jay, does it show on the screen fine?
What? Oh yeah, it shows. It's a little small, but
little
what
small.
Disrespect.
Yeah.
Who was that behind us? So you got Cal. There you go. So you got Cal behind us, who we play. Wake Forest behind us, who we play, and Stanford behind us, who we play. We talked about the week schedule. Where's NC State in this poll?
NC State is ranked number 10.
Number 10. So they're not getting a lot of respect. Virginia Tech didn't get a lot of respect.
They got a first place vote, though.
Yeah. We could have gotten one too, Jack, if you'd have done what you were supposed to do. Believe in the Who's. I mean, first place Who's. I mean, you got to support the team. But, yeah, I mean, disappointed that others aren't. Let me ask you this, Jack, because you play the video game. I read somewhere that UVA was like highly ranked in the ACC in that game. Is that true?
So it's really interesting because in the normal play now, their overall is lower than it is in Dynasty. In the Dynasty mode, they're an 84 overall, which is really good. And I don't know what number, but they're probably in the top.
I think I read 4th or 5th.
Yeah, that I think that sounds about right. It's a good 84 is really good in this year's game, which is interesting. And I looked through some of those ratings. Some of them seem a bit off to me, like a bit low. Like some of these transfers that came in got I think Hunter Osborne's like a 75 or something like that. No respect whatsoever. But yeah, they are pretty high.
Which has got to, I mean, like EA Sports isn't dummies. They're not a bunch of dummies. You know, and you wouldn't err on the side of, well, Virginia's a powerhouse, we're going to make them an 84. Like, no, you would err on the side of, like, well, Virginia's been bad for quite a while. We're going to make them bad. So, like, what do they know? It's like one of those situations, like, do they know something that I think we know, but do they know something that the people that did this poll don't know yet?
Yeah, and I think a lot of the times when you get some of these polls, whether it's the media poll or the coaches poll or whatever, most of the time it's based off of last year, whatever they did last year. Like for instance, last year we were ranked really low. I think we might have been ranked last year going into the year. But obviously the year before was a terrible year. A lot of the time, these guys are just basing it. They don't really know much about the team. They're there just to cover that. Like for me, for example, I can't tell you everything, the ins and outs about Duke football. Okay, I can tell you the quarterback. I can't tell you the offense. I can't tell you how they did the transfer portal. I know they had a good year last year. I know their coaching has been pretty good. I can't tell you the ins and out of it. I know they had a good year last year. That's what a lot of these media members do because, let's be real, nobody knows the ins and outs of every single one of these ACC programs because it's very clear when you read some of the articles from some of the national media, like we kind of mentioned in my article a few weeks ago, they don't know what they're talking about. And, it just is what it is. It's just it sucks. But, I think Coach Elliott actually.
You know where they didn't do that, Jack? Florida State.
Yeah.
They gave them
Yeah.
some love
Florida State got some love. Yes.
on their
I
name.
think I gave Florida State some love too. I can't remember where I put them. It was around that 7 mark actually, but they did get some love, which
Well, there's a Friday night coming up in about 7
man,
or 8 weeks, Jack,
it's
and
big.
they're going to get no love
It
from
is
anyone in
big.
Virginia.
I'll tell you, the two most unpredictable teams in the ACC this year has got to be Florida State, because after last year's crappy year, but they still have so much talent. And then good old Billy Belichick in North Carolina. Nobody knows. I cannot tell you one bit what games they're going to win, what games they're going to lose.
Yeah, no shot at it.
No shot whatsoever. So yeah, I thought I'd just, throw that on the screen just for us to review. With that being said, we want to get to our next guy, Jameer Carter on that defensive line, Jay.
Sure.
Let's get to it.
Players remaining on the team who experienced the tragedy, who experienced the coaching change. I mean, is it almost, I don't want to say responsibility, but almost your thing to do to kind of let the newer players know, like, hey, this is our culture, this is what the soul of this program has been, this is what we're built on, this is our foundation. And it kind of like help them understand, especially when you go and you have UVA Strong Day and you have all these things. Is that kind of your responsibility?
I think, that's a good question. I think for me, it is a little bit, because, like I said, I'm in an older guy role, being my 6th year, and I've been here, like you said, the entire time. With that, I understand what the history is with UVA. Some guys they may not know UVA as well, so I take it upon myself just to educate them when I can, and just this is how we do things. This is where we came from back when we were in McHugh. Now we have a new facility, for example. So many things like that.
I was talking to Mitch a minute ago. It sounds like you are kind of taking on the role. You had to teach them, hey, this is our rivalry at the end of the year, the Virginia Tech rivalry. You kind of mentoring the new players, like, hey, this is a big game.
Yeah, it is a big game. I said this earlier, but I don't know if there's another rivalry in this country that has as much excitement around it than the one we play in this state. Virginia is really divided. It's either UVA or another team, and that's really what it is at the end of the day. So, it means a lot for the people in this state.
You're one of the few players remaining on the team here.
That's really what it is at the end of the day. So, it means a lot for the people in this state.
So there you have it, Jameer Carter. I thought there was one more question in there. Must have been cut off, but talking about being a mentor to this defensive line. Very similar style interview with Noah Josie, because that's kind of what I wanted to get out of him, being one of the veterans, one of the oldest guys on this line, how is it mentoring these guys, talking about the Virginia Tech rivalry and whatnot. You got any thoughts on that, Jay?
Yeah, just, teaching the Virginia way, when you have guys that are, as experienced as he is, it's something to probably see. I'd love to be there, to be a fly on the wall at practice and see that mentorship. Got a comment from our friends over at the Cardiac Who's. 14th is rich. We feel the same way. It's kind of ridiculous. But all you can do is show them on the field, right? I mean, we think what they're over on their win total was 6.5.
I think it's at 6.5 right now.
I had an article this week on buy, sell, or hold. A lot of people, if you treat it like a stock, if people are buying, what should you do? You should probably sell. And a lot of times you go the opposite. So if the media is all saying Virginia's going to stink, you might want to go the other way.
Yeah, for sure. Something else I'd like to get into here, and I'm also going to share my screen again. Hopefully this doesn't just break the entire thing, because I wanted to get into what we did earlier on the XJ the other day. We had a poll that we also had an article about. Let's see here. How's that look? It's a little small. I'll try and zoom in a little bit here. The 2025 whose biggest strength will be? Is it going to be improved quarterback play, improved O-line play, more QB pressure, or other? And Jay leading the votes with 57%, just over 57.5% improved O-line play, which is my personal choice. Second, improved quarterback play. Third, more quarterback pressure from the defensive line, and the 4% for other. I'll give my thoughts really quick, then I'll throw it to you. I've mentioned this so many times on other episodes, and tonight, that offensive line, I'm just so excited for. These of course, it really stinks not having Monroe Mills, and he's going to be done, but the amount of names we brought in from these bigger schools and guys who are huge, and the amount of depth we have is so exciting. Realistically, our offensive line wasn't the worst thing ever last year. The problem is the injuries. So many injuries, and you don't have enough depth. But not only did we get better at offensive line, in my opinion, we did get better. Now we have so much depth at that position where if we do run into the same problem, hey, we'll just plug in the next guy. And it's also interesting where, you talk about potentially rotating throughout the game, keeping guys fresh and getting multiple names out there. I think it's really interesting. Jay, you got some thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit a lot of nails that I would drive home myself. It's interesting to think that, a year ago, and even Noah Josie, I think, mentioned this in one of his press conferences, the offensive line has just flat out been a weakness. Not been good, just not been good. And, now for this, obviously you only get 4 choices. But, how many votes were there? I can't really see.
We had 144 votes. Finally.
144 votes for 57.5% to say the O-line is going to be the strength of the team. I mean, that tells you we've done some good work in the portal. I still I think if I was going to throw the vote, I would throw the vote to Chandler Morris and Danny Kalin in the quarterback room. I think both. I think they're a big improvement. Calandria came in and got a lot of hype because of he made the splash plays, but he was not a quarterback that made winning plays consistently. Too many turnovers, too many bad decisions with the football. Even when things worked out, it wasn't always a good decision. Mm-hmm. And it's like you can be on the sideline saying, no, yes, a lot. Whereas I'd rather have the steady hand.
It's like Steve Kerr with Steph Curry. He takes a shot from the logo, no, and then it goes right through the net. Yes.
Right. Great shot. Keep it up.
Don't listen to us.
Yeah, I think Morris is going to be a lot steadier hand, and I think he's going to make a big difference.
Yeah, for sure. And great little leeway there, Jay, because we have one interview remaining. It's the quarterback. I got the chance to talk with Chandler Morris just for about a minute and a half with a couple of questions. So you want to be sure to listen to this. Here is the Who's starting quarterback of 2025.
You've mentioned in multiple interviews when you transferred to Virginia, one of the biggest reasons to transfer away from North Texas is you want to prove yourself at the Power 4 level and you want to show that you can compete. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, going back to my time at TCU, I won many of quarterback battles and won a battle against Max Duggan, who finished second in the Heisman and got injured and everything like that. And it was injuries that put me off the field. And then the coaches there had to move off of me because of the injuries, which I understood. But at the time, I mean, I wasn't happy about it. So, and when I was playing, I was doing well. I was playing really well. I was playing good football, and so going and getting that fresh start at North Texas, I just want to get back to the big level, the Power 4, and go prove to myself.
This is pretty much a completely new quarterback room at Virginia. Calandria transferred, Musket graduated, Frakes just hit the transfer portal. You got Danny Kalin, and then Grady Brosterhouse is still here for his famous Grady Bunch package. But just how has that relationship been in that room, the chemistry between you guys trying to make each other better?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. We all get along with each other. We're all actually going and playing golf together tomorrow, nice. So excited about that. But yeah, I mean, it's been we've got a great room. We all support each other, and that's what you want out of the quarterback room.
With Elliott as an offensive-minded coach, and then Kitchings, how have you started to fit into their offensive schemes? When you talk about spring practices, we got summer camp fall camp coming up as well.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. Me fitting into what they want, and then them fitting into what I need and what I want and what's my strengths. So I think it's been a great off season. I've been able to sit down with Coach Kitch and really dive into that, and he's trying to adjust everything, or he's trying to adjust things to fit me, and then I'm also too good at things that they already want. So it's been a good process.
Has there been any of the veterans of the team talk to you a little bit about the Virginia Tech rivalry?
Bluegrass, yeah. It's it's definitely well known. I knew about it all the way from Texas, so it's a fun rivalry, and the state gets pretty fired up about it.
How fun is it playing against yourself on NCAA 26?
To be honest with you, I've yet to play. I've played one NCAA game since it came out last year.
Gotcha.
I don't have the new Xbox, I guess.
Okay.
I've got the Xbox One, so I'm a little outdated on that, I guess.
I played my first game when the game first came out. Played against Virginia Tech. First play read option with you. House.
I cribbed it.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So I think
it.
we're set up for the future here.
Yeah.
You know.
Make sure you clip it. And if
It's
I
clipped.
do it,
It's
okay,
clipped.
good.
Just
good.
I need that in real life. That's what I'm trying to
that's
say.
right. That's right. That's right.
I appreciate you, Jim.
Yeah.
Threw me a little charity there at the end. I had to throw it out there. But there's your quarterback, ladies and gentlemen, Chandler Morris. Really excited to have him onto the squad. Yeah, what are your initial thoughts, Jay?
I think he sounds like a 40-year-old man with the
I was gonna say, listen,
with
and
the
I know
Xbox situation going on.
I know we have our priorities, and I'm glad we have our priorities straight when it comes to the UVA football facilities, staff, whatever you want to say. Can somebody hook my guy up with the new console? I mean, we have millions of dollars in NIL now. We're giving out millions. You tell me nobody can hook him up with the console? Come on.
Yeah. I mean, you could hook them up with the VR. Let them play the like the NFL quarterbacks do, speed up the NFL game.
Or whatever it's called.
Some of those guys really train on it. Jaden Daniels apparently trains on it.
Mm-hmm.
I think our account has been hacked, or your pops is on vacation tuning in.
I think it's my father.
Go Who's.
Shout out to my dad, Jeff. He couldn't be with us tonight. Go Who's, absolutely. But
Looking forward to it. An undisclosed location in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
So if you see a Virginia hat.
But there's your quarterback, Chandler Moore. I gotta say, throughout the day, you kind of see him talk to certain different media, walk around, whatever. Has some swagger and confidence to him. I love to see it. He reminded me a lot about Calandria as far as the confidence went. He went into that interview, multiple interviews. He was confident. Like he knows exactly what he's talking about. We got another comment here. He's signing autographs at the pool. We love to hear it. We love to hear the love being thrown your way. We appreciate that. That if you run into him, don't be shy. Go ask him if you see him at the pool. Go ask him. He'll get you your autograph. No problem about it.
That's right.
But yeah, love the confidence out of him. I cannot wait to see him take the field.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a big upgrade over what Calandria and Musket brought. I think Musket probably should have been the starter all last year. I think the team might have won another game or two. I don't know how many more, but a game or two, maybe more. Wish Calandria the best. But with that O-line, it was kind of hard, and I'm probably being a little harsh considering the O-line play. Yeah. But I think we did leave some plays on the field, and we let in 9 out of 12. We couldn't finish. You lay some of that at the feet of your quarterback. That's just the way the game works. Just like when the coaching decisions don't work, it doesn't matter that only one guy missed a block, and if he makes that one block, we have a touchdown. You lay the result at the feet of the coach, and this year going to be time to win.
It's exciting. It's exciting for sure. Virginia bringing in probably the best transfer portal class they've ever gotten. Some nice recruits, one of the weakest schedules they've had in recent memory. Everything is lining up, Jay. Everything is lining up. This is your year. Coach Elliott has been developing for this year specifically. He said it himself in multiple interviews. This is the year he's been lining up for. Him and his staff are excited. They're confident. This entire team believes. The culture in this locker room believes. It's great. Jay, it's got to be the year.
I agree. And if it's not, we'll probably be having some different conversations, but I do think this will be the year. I think we're going to have a great year. I think, I'm not ready to put a win-loss record out there just yet.
Gotta get a little closer.
But, hopefully no injuries in the fall camp. The best thing about fall camp is it'll be over in a month, and we can get to playing real football, and hopefully everybody stays healthy and keeps that energy. As Coach Elliott was saying today, soak it in. the energy you have today, you got to bring it tomorrow. You got to bring it the day after that. You got to bring it every day.
Absolutely. That's going to wrap up our live stream here tonight. We got more episodes coming in the future, a couple more guests that we'll tease later on. But Jay, appreciate you hopping on with me here tonight in our live stream. Got to hear from some of our guys from ACC Kickoff. We would appreciate all of you for tuning in tonight, whether you're listening live right now or you're listening in the future on demand. We appreciate all of you. Be sure to subscribe to. Okay, I'm going to get there, Jay. Don't you worry. I know what you're going to say. Be sure to go hit the like button and subscribe at the Cavalier Connection channel on YouTube. Give us a follow on X at Talk UVA Sports, Instagram at _Cavalier Connection _ and Facebook and YouTube, as always, at Cavalier Connection. And also be sure to take a look at thecavalierconnection.com. We got a lot of articles coming out. We got multiple different people writing for us right now. It's a lot of fun. We got a lot of great content on there. You don't want to miss any of it. Got a lot of great articles. You want to be sure to go check out all of that stuff. With that being said, Jay, that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. Go Hoos.
Go Hoos.